Okay, hello collective. Today we're taking a break from the normal class because I feel like I need to talk about this. Um, it helps. It's going to help a lot. I've been talking with my spirit team a lot about it. Um, and they put it on a lot of stuff on my heart to kind of speak on here last night. So we're going to talk about it this morning, this rising. Um, so first things first, a lot of people on the spiritual journey, yeah, when they get lost, they end up praising a person rather than divine. You can even say they end up praising man more than divine. And um to kind of get to the bottom of this, to try to get to like a greater understanding of what I mean by that, we're gonna talk about it. I had to look something up real quick though, so I can get yeah, okay, cool. So anyway, what about this? When people end up praising man, what they do is they end up paying attention to man's dilemmas, to man's issues, to man's substance, to say the least. Now, everything on earth costs because this is hell. Okay, this is like level one. We fell from grace. That's why we're on the physical. Everyone on the physical is a fallen angel or a fucking other galactical being that has just come down here, or they're just fucking lab babies, which are terrifying to it. Not really terrifying, but it's a word to just kind of fill in the void of emotional effect, if you get what I mean. Um, but yeah, that's just kind of how the earth is running. But everything on this earth costs something. You either pay for it mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Okay? So what we're 3D beings having a multi-dimensional experience. And really multi-dimensions happen within the 2D because it defines that there's another existence other than a plane. There's now a plane that has some sort of barrier on it, quote unquote. Think of ants for that reason. But on the 3D plane, as since we know that we're spirit already, so we already are ether. We already the fourth dimension, the fourth element. We already that. It doesn't matter. So anyway, in the 3D, that's why we had the mental, the physical, and the emotional fields, and the emotional planes, because those are the three dimensions that our spirit, the fourth, is experiencing. We're multidimensional. So what happens is we end up falling. We lose our grace. We are in intergalactic battles. We are in spiritual warfare 24/7. On the physical, it's harder to combat these things because you're so used to everyone being not only aware of it, but you're so used to everyone being in that character, that warrior character. So you have to get used and understand that on the 3D, you feel like you lose your spirit. And for the nine ether beings, you feel like you lose your soul, your power, your goddess or godlike stature. Um, And during that time, you end up following man. This is like bullying. That's an effect of man. The divine allows those things to happen on this realm as it's a teaching place, but the the beings that are on this planet now who are in control are putting excuse me. Yeah, I could say it that way, but they are having too much control over how this realm is ran, and they're making it more extreme than how it's supposed to be. Even though we're in hell because we fell to the physical plane, it's not supposed to be, it could be worse, right? But it's not supposed to be this bad because this is just a warning. The fall from grace or being birthed is purgatory in a sense. It's a divine grace. You get judged. You are judged and you're sent here to learn hey, This is what you need. Or you come down here for training. Hey, you're not equipped yet to fight these beings. Come down here. Or you're one of us who are sent here to teach, to help you learn, to give you a more dense, because we need density on this plane, more dense understanding of who you are, because everything feels so personal. And this is because, um, as Earth was being made, even though it was made with divine beings from different races of galactical beings coming down to create this world to be a gathering to get people to because even if it is supposed to be hell, there's not supposed to be, you know what I mean, this many dissatisfied. Even before, I mean, before even Yakub's time, it was 30% dissatisfied and 70% satisfied, if I remember correctly. If you have the if I'm incorrect, please correct me. I'm always welcome to be corrected. Um, but it is important to realize that the dissatisfied rate that we have right now is about 90 to 92% dissatisfied, and then 10 to 9% satisfied. And those 10 to 9% satisfied are part of the 5% who are here to be awake, and the God, what is it? The 1% that knows what's going on and is keeping all the shit under the Vatican. Um, and then 2% that are trying to get the 5% up to their knowledge, which is what's going on. Notice we don't say groups of people, we don't apply a definition. And it's not to say that you're a number, but it's again to show you that you're not alone. We do all these things to show you that you're grouped with people, but the ego that which was made by man's tactics of shaming, of mental warfare, because, well, on this plane, everything is digested mentally first. You get hit. Do you know that you're like touch yourself? Understand that when you touch yourself, all of this has to happen mentally first. I mean, well, secondly, I should say. First, the divine gives you permission to do that. Because if I didn't have permission to move my hands around, I wouldn't be able to move my hands around. If the divine did not give me the energy to move my hands around, I wouldn't be able to do it. If the divine did not give me the energy to talk this fast, I wouldn't be able to talk this fast. You see what I mean? It comes from spirit first, then it goes mental. Your subconscious gets aware of it. Your conscious is aware of it. It goes to word. So I'm going to do these things. Next, it becomes physical. You experience it on the physical, then the physical action happens. Lastly comes the emotional, because after that, after the physical happens, you're then able to gauge. Well, it goes back to mental, because the emotional and mental are constantly talking, and the physical is just existing. That's why it's best to observe, because you are literally two people talking to each other. You're a feminine, you're a masculine, and you're literally communicating to yourself 24/7. Anyway, when the emotionals last though, because it already knows what's going on. It just needs to tell you, hey, this is what happened. And then your mental, based off the physical, because it goes back in the past, it has to realize what happened instead of actualize, which is why we have the word realize, which is to actualize secondary to then externalize it, we should really say, okay, this is how the brain works. This is how your all's body works. This is the divine blueprint for how all this works. I'm telling you because it's important to know. Even if you don't understand it, it's so important to know this because it shows you how much you want to personalize it with the ego. And it is an ego want, even if you're not consciously wanting it, your ego is craving for it, for that's the way it's been programmed. And we'll get into all this soon. But it's important to know this because it gives you a chance to see, like, I am attached to something too much. This outcome, why am I so attached to this? Is it because I didn't want this? Is it because why? It's important to realize that it's not just someone else, that it is all you, because all that work that's happening is inside of you. And simply if, enough, if it wasn't you, you wouldn't be affected by it in any way, shape, or form, mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally, spiritually, with any of your senses at all. Understand, because if you feel it, it's because there's something inside of you that made that happen, because you took the energy from the divine and somehow converted it to that outcome, whether knowingly or unknowingly. This is the free will of the human. This is the power of the human. And this is what they don't want you to know, to remember, or even to focus on. And even still, some people might be like, yeah, but this doesn't matter. No, it does, because this is the same game that you're playing. And this is why people say whenever you see something, don't shake it off as, oh, this isn't mine. Don't be so arrogant towards it. And remember, ignorance is a lack of knowledge, and arrogance is what people use the word ignorant for on the 3D realm to this day, which is not an education, but to call someone numbskulled or lack minded. You know what I mean? Quick to anger. Um, but regardless, the ego, I don't know an exact date, so I'll have to go back and do some meditation, some thinking, some looking on that. But man has been very intrigued by the mental, um, because of how what they figured out within Egypt, what they found before that. Within all these eras, people found out that the brain was a lot more powerful than it was. In fact, people even knew that there were four types of melanin, and I forgot the name of one of them, but one of them has been scientifically proven to be electrical. So, again, if you are melanated, you are literally the power, you are literally energy, which is why they suppress most melanated people, because they are the original goddesses and gods of this land. They are not only made of just strict carbon, but they are made of electricity. They're made of all. The darker the complex, like, y'all understand how colors work. We'll talk about that too a little bit. We got a lot to talk about, really. It's a lot. So excuse me for the jumble jumping around. There's not really a direct way to speak about all this because it's branches off so much. Um, and this is why I like to teach a lot, because these things, either people know them and they're keeping their mouth shuts about it, and I'm on to y'all. You're not helping no one, or they just don't know. You know what I mean? It's this westernized, and this is what I talked about competition, how like competition isn't real. It's a man-made thing. It's the ego thing. We're going back to the ego. Thank you, spirit. But all these like western occultists, they feel like it's a challenge. They feel like they need to keep these things secret, and it's because a, you've been brainwashed by the white man that doesn't want anyone to know their not even their secrets, but the secrets of before the men that they were, before they were even fucking thought of being invented. Those type the secrets that the goddesses and gods came down to this plane for to teach people with, before all these falls of different civilizations, except for Babylon. Um, but the ego likes to make things personalized. The ego acts because we are told that we're individuals, which is not true, because again, this is an egoic way of thinking. So if you feel like things are happening to you instead of for you, it's because you yourself be live, you are believing a lie, you are allowing yourself to lie to yourself, you are being a lie. And I believe VE, let me look up the etymology for that. Can I, hold on, is it going to show up anyway? Okay, it's not. Give me a second, I'm going to look that up. Okay, yeah, it was what I thought it was. It was just have. It was just another way of saying have. I thought so, but I didn't know if it had like anything else to it. It's always good to make sure about these things because again, it's important to know why you're doing these things. And all word. Okay, so get this. This is how much of a cycle words are, and I'm not gonna. Y'all know how I am about these things. But words are just other words put together to make a bigger word. And then you have compound words, which is literally that plus another one. Okay? So when you say words, they're not just that one thing, they are multiple. This is why we have syllables. Syllables were literally proven in elementary school whenever we learned them, even like counting them out. All those things are words. Every syllable is a word. That's how you break the spell. They tell you these things in elementary school, but do you think we pay attention to them or remember them? No. They are the most important things because it's what makes up this entire world and an entire existence. But every syllable is its own word. And that word, that sound, actually, not even a word, it's a sound, has its own meaning. And then those letters within that sound have their own words connected to them that define the etymological meaning of that syllable, of that phrase, of that word, of that sound. And it repeats. That is literally the coding blocks of this world on the vocal spectrum. Now that's the spectrums. We have the dimensions and then the spectrums. Voice would be counted as a spiritual spectrum, but it affects reality on the physical plane as well as on the mental and the emotional. It has its own, it's a spectrum. It covers everything. They're not just set in certain things. It's not like a Venn diagram like people want you to think. It's a spectrum. That's where we go over these things. But the ego wants you to feel so personalized and feel so singled out that it only happens to you when the divine shows you what we call the collective, or you all wish to call the collective at this point, or soul tribe or soul family. um it shows you that you're not alone, and what you're experiencing is just a part of your soul that has, or spirit, whichever, respectfully, whatever part of that soul fragment that you've lost, trying to find itself to resonate with itself. That's why when you feel lost, you feel broken, it's because your soul has fragmented and you're giving your power to man to fix it rather than the divine. Every messenger, if they were a true messenger, would tell you that it's not them, it's the divine. Because without the divine, they wouldn't be here doing it. It doesn't even matter if you manifested that person in or not. If they did not have the energy that the divine gave them and if they weren't using it in the correct way, then there would be no way for them to be able to do the actions that they have done and produced to affect you in the way that it has to switch your mentality, your physicality, your emotionality, your spirituality, however it is. It is never the flesh, and man wants to worship flesh. Oh, but you need to take credit for this too. But even the one that you give credit for knows that there's something else out there. The man only can take credit for what the man produces, which is what's on the physical. The divine gets has the one is the one making the idea, is the one actually allowing man to express himself in that way. Because if man was truly following the divine and not following man, everyone would be fully expressive. You wouldn't be afraid to do certain things if you weren't worshiping man. And this is what they talk about. False idols, not praise. You can't praise two. Choose, pick, make a decision. That's the hardest thing for man to do, is to make a decision. Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? Do you want to walk with the divine or do you wish to stay in the past? Do you want to praise man or do you want to receive your freedom? And of course, the choice is obvious. I want my freedom. I want to be with the divine. Then why do you continue to serve man? Why do you continue to allow man to affect what you say, to affect how you act, talk, to change your life in such a drastic way? If you are following the divine, then man's tactics, man's fully like vulture will not bother you. In fact, you would understand that the divine is only letting them express their self in the only way that they know how to, just the same as you. So there is no fault. So no, again, there's nothing bad here. We're just pointing things out for you so that you can truly understand why certain things don't work or why you might have fluctuations in how you feel. And it's because you're worshiping two gods. You're worshiping a false idol. Notice how I use a pointer finger, how I use the ruling finger of Mars, and um or the actual most high. And that's the key, is understanding that anything on the physical is related to man because man has control over the physical. You can change matter. Yeah, here. I don't want to break anything, but actually, yeah, I will. See, I mean, there's that. See, so this Q-tip, right? I'm changing matter. I have control over matter. It's that simple. Seriously, sometimes I have to break it down like this. Trust me. That's the power of man. You can change matter. You can burn shit. You have the power to alchemize literally physical things, turning solids into liquids, and then into gases, and then turning a gas into back into a solid, and then turning a liquid into a solid or a gas. So if we have this power, or even turning a solid into a plasma, turning a gas into a plasma, we have the ability to turn electricity into its core plasmic form, lock it in a physical form, and allow that physical form to encase it, and then we can liquefy that form, and then have the plasma spread out through the liquid state. Like we have these abilities. That's the power of man. But because everyone knows this, and because not many people care about it or look at it that way, we don't see it as what it is, as the true power. So when you understand that that is man's power and man only has the power to change the form of something, not necessarily change its what it is, it's an ice cube, but that ice cube is formed from water, and it's still water. And where does that water come from? It might have came from vapor. It came from some sort of gaseous state. It came from a cloud. So it goes from a gaseous state to a liquid state to a solid state. But what is it still? Well, it's that air. It's that basic chemical, whatever it is, H2O, you know what I mean? If it's H2O2, whatever the fuck it is, right? It doesn't matter what kind of liquid it is. It came from a gaseous point, which is funny enough because it goes from gaseous back to physical, back to solid, I mean, because these atoms are solid. Even though they are energetic moving, they are considered solid, depending on how like fast, dense they are moving, and yada yada yada. We can go down that whole pipeline later. But it repeats. Okay, it moves so fast within a area that we're able to see it as a solid thing. You know, But y'all, yeah, you might know, you might not, but this is a big brain bust for a lot of things. We're getting deep into this stuff because we need to start talking about it. These are all things that we were taught in school, at least I was, and it's something that people just don't pay attention to. They forget because of, again, man's tactics. Back to it. So, with man's tactics of just being able to control the physical, they make illusions. The only thing you can do on the physical is make illusions. You make a joke out of it. You pull a trick, magic tricks, alchemy, all these things. So man pulls this trick, making you think that their actions are stronger than yours. Now understand this. You would only believe that if you believe yourself to be an individual. You would only believe that someone else has more power than you if you are an individual. If you solo yourself out, and only you can make yourself feel that way. And this is something that derives from social anxiety. Um, if you have that, if you want to put it towards something on the physical, because I will relate it to that, okay? Because I know not everyone has reached the point of understanding the only two disorder. So we'll jump down a little bit for that. But the the anxiety, the social anxiety, all that's saying is that you have an increase of energy whenever you're out around doing social activities, and that increase of energy makes you hyper aware or hyper focused on certain things. So then you start noticing that, oh, I'm standing over here and there's groups of people over there talking, and it gets you to think, why don't they come over to me? At the same time you think, why don't I go over to them? Well, I don't want to go over to them because I just don't want to, and they know that I don't. And that's the answer. But then you want to combat yourself with that extra energy. Instead of using the energy to solidify that point, you then use the energy to go, but that if they know that I don't want to go over there, then why aren't they coming over here? Boom, now you're an individual. Now you've just sold yourself out. You've just tricked yourself. You've pulled your own illusion over your head, making you think that because they don't want to go over to you, that something is bad with them. You are now scapegoating someone else for the own lack of your actions. Take accountability. Understand this. This is how anxiety works. You don't need medication to help you sedate yourself or to drug yourself to like be okay with it. All you need to do is understand what you're messing with. They don't tell you these things for a reason, because all big pharma wants to do is take your money. They don't care if you have solved your anxiety or not. Take it from someone that's dropped all medications, even from fucking seizures. I used to wear glasses. I don't wear glasses anymore. All these things that like are your issues are all caused because of misunderstanding of your own energy that you aren't able to express. You just don't understand what you're messing with. And they don't want you to know what you're messing with. I'm here to tell you what you're messing with. Back to the anxiety thing though. That's how anxiety works. Is that increased energy, because you can look at the scientific studies, there's no difference between anxiety and excitement. Energetically, there's no difference. The energy is the same, but it is how you wish to split on that polar scale of good and bad, light and dark, the 3D reality, that bullshit is where you fall on. So if you experience this increase of energy, identify it with the umbrella term anxiety, you then start receiving all the side effects of anxiety because you have just diagnosed yourself as having this label. And this label comes with this many things. It's like you look on the back of a can of like peas or something, and it has, oh, these are green peas. That's the label of them, right? Doesn't matter what company they came from. That's a whole other another thing. But you look at it, and go, okay, these are green peas. What are all the ingredients? Oh, it has 160 calories and like 3 grams of salt or whatever the fuck in it. Those are the side effects or the things that make up those green beans. Correct? Those are the ingredients. So then you give yourself the can of anxiety, and it comes with all these fucking things. Your heart, like all these side effects, all these ingredients that it comes with to make it up, because you have decided with your energy that was given from the divine, with the energy of love to help support you, you have then used that same energy to create your downfall. Despite how of much of a fall it is still considered a downfall. Now, same thing could be done with the energy if you use to solidify. Yeah, everyone here is just doing their own thing, because just like I'm doing my own thing, I'm not separate from everyone else. You in your ego have this relationship where it wants to feel like it's the only one going through something, like it's the only one, like no one pays attention to me, because you are not paying attention to you, and you're allowing this subconscious thought pattern because you diagnose yourself and keep saying that you have and that you are these things. And the saying I am is simply referring to God, that's calling the God awakening inside of you. It causes that God to be risen and to hear, what am I today? Oh, you said I'm poor. today. I'll be poor today. Got you. I guess that's what we're doing today. That's what it's going to do. It's not going to fight you because you are the one in command. You're giving the script. You're saying the script. You're living the script. So if there's an issue, it's because you are saying, I am, and then you're having an issue. And that issue roots, sorry, I don't know why I pointed up, roots from man. And why does it root instead of come? Because man, because the idea, the energy of saying I am comes from the divine. In the root, when it hits the root, the issue, it goes straight to man. Oh, I want to do these things, but I can't because XYZ, because man created these systems that then prevent me from moving forward. You're worshiping man because you're following man's law. Work with the divine, and you'll see that the divine won't let you down. The divine's law is different from man's law. These are two different laws you're following. When you follow the divine, when you are praising the divine, when you are paying attention to the divine, because it costs time and energy, patience, it costs all these things that it takes you to do. It costs the price of that 30-minute meditation. It costs the price of that silencing down and cooling off. You have to give that energy that keeps you. I'm dropping so many little bombs here. Like y'all who are listening caught on to the energy. Okay? You have to pay that energy what it's doing. So you got to say, "Hey, I'm feeling this way, but I want to feel the other way. Let me give you this. Let me exchange this for what I want." As that's the only way I know how to do it on this realm. We're trading energy. You trade love, the love from the divine, for man's problem with your energy because you pay with it. When you say I am, that is you purchasing whatever you're purchasing. Oh, I don't feel good today. Why don't, well, then you're not going to feel good today. Until you tell yourself differently, you will feel decreasingly worse. You won't feel as good as you want to. Even if you don't notice it, it's because, well, you didn't want to notice it. You didn't give it a chance to be noticed. In fact, you didn't even say that you wanted that. You just blatantly said, "This is what I am." Instead of saying the other thing of, "Oh, I am this." Don't say I want to be that. Don't say I wish I could do these things. You are those things because you're wanting them, but it's the lack of responsibility of your own words that are keeping those things from flourishing the way that they need to. I don't know why my pointers are going off today. I'm sorry. They going they're going off today. I don't mean offense. I really hope it doesn't mean offense to y'all. I ain't trying to be. I'm just trying to get the energy to flow the way it needs to. But understand, overstand this. Don't understand it. Don't stand under the bitch. Stand inside it. And then stand over top of it so you can get a bird eye view and look down on it. And not looking down on it in like a bad way, but you gotta look at it from the head down. Because you've been looking from the bottom up for so fucking long, you didn't even know that there was a top. You just thought it was like a fucking endless thing. There's a top to it. That's why you overstand it. But the only way you can overstand it is if you understand it and go inside that shit. Okay? Hopefully I'm jugging your brains good because we're talking about this stuff. Not me. No one talks about how deep this shit gets because everyone's so focused about. Now this is the conundrum. Okay, we are sent here to observe how we act within this vessel as well. A lot of us are to understand how reality works. Now, in order to do that, what you do is you pay attention to the divine. So you giving your full grace to the divine, but you observe man. Let me get my deck. You already know what I'm about to do. You already know. I really hope that there are people out there who read tarot, who watch these videos, these breakdowns of the cards as well, and get something from them. Because knowing like this knowledge that I'm dropping about the cards and stuff, they're really going to help you read. Because yeah, the divine gives you messages, but the cards themselves hold that message. And what you're picking up is the energy that you are only able to pay attention to. The divine will tell you messages for sure, but if you can't read the language, which is the cards, the imagery on the cards, then you're only going to be able to get rough translations. And that's the truth. That's for anything. Anyway, we have the Hermit. This is you overstanding. This is you not only overstanding, but understanding. Because you are here as the Hermit with the lantern. Do you think the Hermit's gonna find anything with that lantern light? How dark it is? Fuck no. He's trying to draw something up. He's on the mountains. I had to look at the card for a second, sorry. But he's on the mountains. He's trying to draw that wisdom up. His eyes are even closed. You can get, if you have the Rider Waite deck, the Radiant Rider Waite, or you can look it up. His eyes are closed for a reason. He's not trying to look at the outside world. He's looking inside. And he's standing on top of these mountains so he can get the divine wisdom. He can overstand it, but first he has to go within. And this is how you rule the world. The world is going to do what it wants to do. The world is stuck, you know? You have this is a Masonic bridge. You have the world in your hand. Yeah, that's the right hand. The world's on your right hand, and you have your spirit, the divine energy, in your left. And it's on top of this. You're looking out into the waters. You're looking past the physical into the spiritual, into the emotional. You're not looking at how how the land looks. You're not worried about the terrain or how much greenery is around. You're worried about what can you do? What are you sent here to do? You're looking out to the vast waters, waiting for your adventure. This goes into the Three of Wands, where you're then having to look deeper into yourself to find out, okay, so now I know that I'm here. Now that I know I have like a defined, that I have a mission, and that no matter what, it's going to be solid. The world's going to do what the world's going to do. The world is going to be stuck doing its thing, and I'm not supposed to be part of the world. I'm supposed to be doing something different. What do I feel comfortable doing at this time? That's what these cards talk about is diving within and really seeing the truth of a matter, of a situation. Um, and a side note, for those that are wondering about that map I was making with all the tarot cards and stuff, that's still happening. Um, I, sure, there's a lot to break down. There's a lot to break down with it, but we're getting it. It's gonna be a long, big ass project, but it will be finished. Okay. Back to it though. When you worship these two different gods, when you're worshiping man and the divine, it's it then puts you in this duality state because that's the trick of man is to make you feel like it's a little bit in here or a little bit in the other. No, it's all or nothing. You're either all with the divine or you're all with man. Because if you're not and you're in between, you're lost because you still haven't made that decision yet. And you can say all day long, I'm with the divine. But the second you go, but this is yada yada this, and you're describing a situation that man has put you through or put you in, whether that's because of you or you want to scapegoat someone's actions, that's you immediately looking at the divine and going, yeah, but here's man. And that's what you don't need to do. And I used the wrong hands. I know I apologize. It should have been this way to that way. I understand. But I'm just moving the body the way it wishes to move at this time. But that is the truth of it. Is you praise these two gods because you use that word but or this if and or buts, you like don't use those. It's like, yeah, but I have this, but then all this is like, yeah, but what do you want? Do you want this or that? And the divine as well. This is why duality is a thing. This is why yin yang's a symbol, is to show you you can have a little bit of both in the two, but you're not going to see the whole picture. This is why people say yin yang's a duality symbol, because they only can see those two circles instead of the big circle it's encompassed around. Because you're wanting to worship two gods, the divine and man, and you're not seeing that man is part divine. For man would not exist without some sort of divine influence, first of all. So, you don't understand really the symbolisms, what these things mean, because you're going off of man rather than divine. You're going off of man saying, oh, this is what it is, instead of using your own eyes to see. Because everyone says something, but they wouldn't say it if they didn't see it or experience it first, you know? You have to take responsibility for the negligence of being able to do your own lookings into these things. And that's the part of giving yourself grace. People have this issue with accountability, despite whatever it is, because they feel like if they take accountability, that blame's not going to be put on someone else. And why do you want blame to be put on someone else? Like that's your first issue. That's your first little molehill, and you make a mountain out of it. Well, because they deserve this, and I didn't, and me mamu, and yes, that's all very important. Yes, get that out of your system, of course. Express yourself. I'm not here to say nothing about it. Express yourself. It's stages that we go through. Understand. So express yourself, but understand that taking accountability for your own actions or lack thereof does not remove any sort of accountability from any other part. All it does is it frees you from the energetic whirlpool of lack of acceptance that's going on around you. If you can accept it, things get better because then you give yourself grace. You not only give yourself grace, but within feeling that grace of being like, yeah, I could have done all this better, you then allow the divine to come in and give you more grace because you're already getting it. And the divine can only give you naturally and organically more than what you have. That's why when you're in lack, how things feel like they're in lack until you switch your mindset and go, no, fuck this, I don't deserve it. And it takes you to get into that big grr energy, and that's the energy that it takes to manifest. It doesn't need to be in that rash action or that unpleasant energy, but it's that same amount of energy that needs to be used to manifest. And this is where manifestation gets weird because then you're so once you do it, you get so exhausted and you splurge all that extra on the from the manifestation that you've done. You splurge all of that, and then you're like, man, I want to manifest more, but like I don't, and I have all this slack. So you drag yourself back down, and this is that weird slingshot effect. At some point, humans will understand it and get this, and be like, in these periods of lack in the space, the void era, is where you put funnel in the most energy. So if you keep doubting things, of course it's not going to come in as a lot as much as you wanted, but it's also going to take longer because you're pushing it away by saying I don't need this right now. I don't want it right now because I'm in lack, you know? You're identifying with it. You're saying that that's what you are, and that's what you end up getting. These are things that the mind does. These are things that man has known about the mind forever. And they use it against, well, they don't, do they? No, they don't use it against your will. They use it with your will because it's in front of your face and it's up to you at the end of the day to educate yourself. Even in school, they kind of taught you that. Um, Depending on like what generation of school you were in. I'm not sure how it was back in the day, but like the education system feels like it's gotten worse. But no, I mean, like for teaching, yes, definitely. Because I remember my dad even telling me like they don't even teach you how to do like they don't teach you how to write in cursive anymore because they don't want you reading those documents. Now, I know how to read cursive. I know how to write in cursive, so I'm part of the lucky ones that remembers that type of shit. And then you have parents teaching other things that matter. I don't know why we got on that topic. Thank you though, Divine. Regardless, um, it's up to us to educate ourselves on these things because we wouldn't be aware of them if we didn't have the energy to delve into them. If it wasn't for us, the divine wouldn't have led us to it. And that's the hypocrisy, that's the arrogance, and somewhat of the ignorance that people have. Sorry, there's like a thing. mm, I don't know what that was. Anyway, there was that's why dang, whatever that was took me right off the track. Congratulations. Um But yeah, if it's in front, the arrogance and the ignorance of not getting signs when they're in front of your face. Thank you, Divine. And see, that's really all you have to do as well. I'll talk about this as well. That's all you have to do to get back on track. You go within. You never forgot. Man forgot. You, your heart, who you are, never forgot. It's always inside of you. You just have to go deep. You just have to calm and dig dip, dig deep in. No, but back to it. So the ignorance and arrogance with like not getting that what if you see it as for you is because the ego, the mind doesn't want to agree to it because of a lack of some sort of accountability on some way, shape, or form. This is why people end up getting negative comments and stuff of that nature because the people that are coming to them aren't getting what they are supposed to be getting. They're allowing man to distort and man being themselves and man does not represent the man gender. Man represents both. It doesn't have it. It's womb man and then man. There's man with a womb and man without a womb. I love it. I love it. I had to switch the energy out. That was funny. Anyway, they get me so good sometimes. I love this shit. Um, because I'll say things, and it's not that I don't get them. It's just I'll say it, and then the divine just like pops out, and they're like, "Bye, we just told you that," and I just have to sit there and be like, "Wow, thanks for just coming in." But this is how the divine graces you, by the way. Really, when you release control, the divine comes in, does what the divine needs to do, and then leaves. And that's how miracles happen, just like that. It don't take centuries, it don't take years. It just takes you fully surrendering and doing what you need to do, which is what your heart knows what it needs to do, which is that silent voice in your head saying, do this. It's your Jill to your Jack. Jack went up the hill to catch a pail of water. Jack fell down and lost his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Take it from a gypsy, dude. I just know what I'm talking about. Okay, take it, take it. It don't cost nothing. Just take it. I'm really here to like wake you all up because this is shit that people don't need you to know, and they don't need you to know it because they want to be in power. This is what you need to know, though. These aren't just jabberfest that I put on. This is genuine information that can save your life from being in someone else's hands. Which in retrospect saves your life because then it's you. And there's one thing that you're not going to do for yourself because you loved yourself enough to become a physical form. You love yourself so much that all these atoms, all these microfibers and everything within your body love each other so much that they stick so close together and they work in harmony to make you a full physical avatar for your soul to rest in. That's how much you love yourself. Remember, you wouldn't be here unless you wanted to be here. So all that love you have for yourself is creating this physical form. It's created you to see every you can only see this because you love yourself. Understand that. Because if you didn't have the form of love to create photos for yourself, that would be there. Now, that's different with deformities. That's not saying that people with deformities don't love themselves. There are reasons that happen on the physical and defects and chemicals and shit. But it's the fact that you can actualize this as being what it is and not being like, oh, that was a threat. Then that's how much love you have. You have so much love that you're able to look at irrational objects like this and not get upset at them. You know what I mean? Because some people would genuinely get mad at seeing that for some reason. Why? I don't fucking know. It's because of a lack of love. There's a void that needs to be filled there. This is serious stuff that we're dealing with here on Earth. This is why we're here to show love, and it's to understand how important that is. You know. But damn, that was a whole wormhole. Anyway, shit. What else we got to talk about? How deep we gonna get? I love going down my rabbit holes, y'all. I love doing it. Um, but yeah, I really hope that this like reaches the right people and that y'all understand this stuff. Take notes. Genuinely take notes. Rewatch this shit over and over again. Share this shit out because this is real shit. This is stuff that happens around us daily and we're not aware of it at all. Um but understand that everything you do happens out of love and you have to understand that whenever you see a message whether you like seeing it or not it's because you love yourself. Hey, this is happening, keep an eye out for this. Does that mean you have to indulge in that energy? No, just become aware of it. Just be like, you know what, I see it, I'm observing it. I understand and I overstand why this is in my life. Why these words, why these symbols are popping up in my peripheral vision that create certain words that remind me of certain events. I understand why the energy's there because it's part of my experience. And I understand that that's something that's going on. But am I going to let that take over my life or am I going to continue moving on to find something better? Thank you, Divine, for putting that on me. This is the Seven of Cups, y'all. This is the Seven of Cups in tarot. Get your pens and pencils out, your pen and paper. We're talking more about it. I really hope you all are like genuinely paying attention because you ain't gonna hear this talk come from many other people. I think the Seven of Cups is like right here. Yeah, it's like the top of the deck. I knew that was gonna happen. It always does when I think it. Seven of Cups. Dun, 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 dun. Do you want to go with the flow of life, the snake, the sine wave? Do you want a mysterious lover, the masked figure? Do you want intelligence, the man? Do you want a shelter? Do you want to like rule your own kingdom? Do you want riches? Do you want to die in like in glory, like go to war? Or do you want to just oh God, I forgot what the gargoyle was. Ah, damn, you got me there, Spirit. I forgot what the gargoyle was. They put me on a test, but they're all in the sky. You did, hold on. Let me look. Actually, I ain't gonna just. I'll get. Okay, I believe the gargoyle is the spiritual path. Um, I believe that's what that is. Do I want to continue going to the spiritual path? I believe that's what that is. Or finding a deeper meaning. Do I want to continue just digging for a deeper truth? Do I want to have some form of protection? But they're all in the clouds, and clouds are super important in card reading. If y'all don't read the clouds, and this is why it's important to read the clouds daily. This is why it happens. I talk about this shit for a reason, okay? The clouds, if something's on top of a cloud, it's because it's in heaven. These cups represent wands. These are ideas given to you from the divine. These are all divine revelations that you're figuring out, and they are affecting you on the heart because these are all things on your that have been weighed on your heart, and because you're able to evaluate your emotions now. And you're back at this stage where you're able to build yourself back up at seven as well, waiting. You have all your ducks in a row. Now what? This is Seven of Cups and you're there looking at all these options, in the cloud, above the cloud. So these are all things that haven't even manifested yet. These are just thought forms still. Not even thought forms, but just ideas. This is just energy still. Okay? Before it comes down to you. If it's a hand's coming out from a cloud, it's the divine. It's giving and receiving something from the divine. If if it's coming down, if it's like below the clouds, it's surface level basically. And then you have your different types of clouds. These are like I don't remember the names of types of clouds, but look up the types of clouds because those are important too. Because the symbolisms they're put that way for a reason. This is intentional art. This is why whenever you get like other cards, if they're not intentional with their divine with the design, like down to the T, then that's why. These cards are intentional. These hide secrets in them. You have to read them. You don't understand the language of tarot. You understand the language of what man's told you, basically. I mean, unless you do, then kudos to you, but really understand that it's intentional art. Everything on this earth has a purpose and an intention and a reason and a meaning. Whether it's unknown to the person or not is on them. And that's their own conscious mistake, subconscious mistake too. But it's a conscious mistake because they have to actualize it and be like, oh, I don't know why I drew it that way. I just really felt the energy and I felt like drawing it that way. Good. But what does it represent? What did it represent when it was given to you? Did you pay attention to that? And this isn't to shame. This is to create more life in your art. This is to bring more life into art because people always wonder, why don't I have life in my art? Are you being intentional with everything? Seriously. Seriously, why do you think? I mean, listen, if the clouds were important, then why are there different cloud forms on different cards? If the colors didn't matter, why are the cards different colors? If the symbolisms inside this cup didn't mean shit, then why are they there? Oh, because they just wanted to fill in space. They could have had those cups empty. Why is it the seven? Think about it. Let it go. Let it in. Let it simmer. Let it resonate. Let it do what we gotta do. Digest it. Telling you. I don't come up here and I don't speak how bold I speak. I don't care how you deem it to be. I don't say what I say so bluntly because I'm arrogant or dumb. I say it because I know it to be true. I've done the research and I know other people can find it too. And I'm just here to give proof of what I know because not a lot of people know these things and they'll combat it like, I actually know it means all these things. Okay, well, where'd you hear that from? Oh, well, I seen it on a Facebook post. Oh, really? Well, for me, I look at these cards and I seen that these cards had imagery on them, and I didn't know why on some cards. Oh, well, that just looks like a beautiful, nice day out there. Why are these clouds like that? I ask myself these questions. I'm not just here to copy paste other people. I'm here to start shit. I'm here to create, not to add on. I mean, adding on is a thing that's going to happen regardless because that's just a man thing. I'm here to create with the divine. I'm not here to fall for the matrix games and to ignore things. I'm here to wake people up, and people don't like that. So, but then again, I didn't like when I was woke up either. I kind of wanted to go back to bed this morning, you know what I mean? My back is still a little sore from the DJing, but who cares? I'm here. That's kind of the attitude you have to have with the spiritual awakening. Well, you know, at least I know this now. At least now, when I see these things, I can better understand what's going on. And this is the good part about it. Even if you can't read the cards in that way, right? It's just important to have this information in your mind so that when you see it, it's like, oh, it could also mean these other things too. Sometimes the message doesn't resonate because the messenger isn't given the right message. You know what I mean? A lot of the times it's like that, and you have to understand it. It's like, oh, you need a different messenger. It's not that that messenger's wrong. It's just they're not hitting what your ego or your soul needs respectfully. Because some people go to readings for egoic reasons, and other people actually go to it for guidance, which is a big thing. Um, but is there anything else that we got to talk about, Divine? Because I'm going on so many tangents. Not even tangents. I'm going down so many pipelines. Mm. No, no, we're done. Okay. We are done so. We got it all out. So anyway, thank you all so much. Um, for just being here, for all the support, for all the time that you truly donate to not only me, but to yourself to better understand things. The fact that you even want to grow, the fact that you're even here and wanting to really remember who you are and not just go off of what someone told you that you are, but really remember who you are, your galactical name, your galactical family, where you root from, and remember that. Like, that's the true beauty of the spiritual journey. Fuck getting a reading and someone saying, oh, yeah, this, and this is popping up. Yeah, cool. But who are you? What's your galactical name? Don't type this shit out. Don't tell people this. I don't even care if you, like, don't even tell me. Like, these are things that you got to keep to yourself. I mean, you don't have to, but it's like, if someone can call your galactical name and shit, then they pretty much can just summon your higher self and shit. So just be careful with that stuff. You know what I mean? You got different vibrations for different people. Everyone's doing crazy shit here. But thank you all so much for just wanting to grow and learn and heal and evolve and really take power back where it belongs, you know? Um, but I really do appreciate it. I really do. If you need bracelets, you hit up Otter Spirit in the description. You can use the link, as well as the code SteelBluter20 for 20% off the order. If you need a reading, any other service that I offer, you can, or any of the books I have, you can hit up my email or use the Google form and I'll get you situated. Regardless, thank you all so much for being here, for all the likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and donations, whether they are energetic or financial. I appreciate them wholly and fully. But thank you all so much for being here. I love you all so much, to the moon and back, tenfold and forever, and I will see you later.